Good
All
evening,
right.
everyone.
Good evening, everybody. How's it going today?
We're good. It's hot outside, and I'm tired and wore out and exhausted. Is that possible? Uh oh, Tamara.
I
Having
know I'm
trouble.
freezing. Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Am I back? Okay. If it keeps happening, you'll have to just handle things and I'll jump off and restart my computer. That could be it. Just let me know if it keeps freezing up, okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
How was
Yeah, it's
your week?
hot here too. Just hot and humid and gross. And it's at that time of year where it's too hot to be outside, but the air condition I'm in the basement here, so I had to put a sweater on. It's freezing down here.
Me too. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
beautiful, and my basement is the coldest place in the summer and the warmest place in the winter. It's perfect, but it was hot. I spent the whole day outside. I did community service today. I did community service, and my village is so awesome where I work for my community hours. I get to take my equipment over there and not break my back. And I did a bunch of stuff, removed some tree trunks from some neighbors or some people around the village, and hauled some firewood around. And man, it was a good day.
Awesome. Good. Hey, yeah, how many hours do you have left? Do you know?
I have no idea. Probably like, I don't know. I must be at 60 or 70 now out of the 100. I was writing them down somewhere, but I don't know what I wrote.
Yes.
I put a full day in yesterday, and I put a full day in today, and then when I get back from this run next week, I will do more. I got to take my excavator over, and I'm going to do a demolition on a building. So this is going to be the most epic community service anyone in Canada has ever probably witnessed. So
no, house arrest isn't so bad, is it, Chris? It's really not so bad.
No, I got a customer called me with a load in Arizona, and a customer called me with a load in Florida. So I've got some trucking to do in the next little while.
Nice. Yeah, that'll be a nice trip. Yeah. I have good news for an update on my house arrest. I contacted my lawyer about getting a variation order. I think we talked a little bit about this last week, but to get a variation order to my conditions to allow me to work outside of Canada, and it sounds like it's all going to go through and be approved. So that's nice. Awesome. Yeah, my PO emailed my lawyer and the Crown prosecutor, and so I think they'll get an affidavit done here and before the judge, and I'll be able to go down south for work. And there's also the Rebel Cruise in November too, but we'll be off house arrest in October. It'll just be curfew then.
That is amazing. Yeah, it's kind of kept me sane. If I had to be stuck in a house for 18 months, not being able to leave, I'd probably lose my marbles because I'm just that busy all the time. And yeah, there, I have my community hours noted, so I don't have to lose them.
Oh, good. Good. The life of a convicted criminal.
Right? Have you been watching the Muppets on Twitter? I think somebody left the medication. They took the medication away for some of these lefties on there, because I looked on Twitter and it's just a cesspool of people like, you're a grifter, you should get a job. Last I checked, I worked kind of a little bit hard, so you got nothing on that.
No kidding.
I should ignore them, but I can't. It's impossible for me to ignore them. I just can't. I have to play with them. I have to dig and get under their skin, and I probably shouldn't do that. I know that. I get warned by everybody, including you.
Well, it just so happens that we have a psychology professional on the show tonight who could maybe help walk you through some of that and help you with that.
I would probably give you the same advice. Leave them alone and ignore them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no kidding. We'll have to start like a weekly or bi-weekly counseling house arrest session with Ted on here, honestly. Yep. We could probably use it.
Exactly. Well, we could, or they could. I don't know. He'd be a busy guy.
We could. Everyone could. That if I had absolutely one wish that I could make come true, I would get this entire country in to see a psychiatrist. I think Canada needs some serious therapy.
Very. We don't have them for a long time tonight.
Some tough love. Serious therapy and some tough love.
We don't have Ted for very long tonight, so should we bring him right up here and let's get into this?
Yeah, well, I got to do an introduction here first. Hang on. Before we get started, let's say hello to Valerie and Carla. Nice to see you again, Carla. Thanks for coming. Christy's back here. Thanks, Christy. Hi, Clay. Yeah. Hi. Hello, Susan. Always great to see you. And Valerie saying hit the like button. And she's right. Absolutely. Hit the like button. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Tell all your friends about house arrest and how amazing it is.
I see
And
Carla.
yeah,
I see Christy. I see Clay. Clay, say hi to Lisa for me. Oh,
well done on curfew, kids. Yes, right. We were also just talking this morning, Chris. Next week, I think next week or the week after, we'll be 8 months into our house arrest already. So we've only got really just over 4 months left.
right. And then it goes to a curfew for for us for a little while from 10 to 5, I believe it is.
Yeah.
Things get a lot easier on October 7th for both of us. And then but we've been pretty blessed. I mean, it's been doable. It's been tricky. I crawl underneath Red to do my maintenance every week, and I crawled underneath and I found an air tank bracket that was rotted through, and then I would go to put oil in Red, and my oil tanks were empty, so I did an emergency email to my CSO officer there, and she approved it right away. I jumped in the truck, ran 2 45-gallon barrel drums to town, filled them up, grabbed some parts, and did what I had to do, and got back out and started working on the truck. So it's doable, work related. I mean, obviously it sucks because you can't just go over to your neighbors for a visit or a beer, but it'll be over soon, and it's all it can be.
That's right. Yeah, the only thing that really sucks is that I'm missing my grandson's ball and stuff. But like I said, I told Zayden, I'll catch the last half of your football season, buddy.
Yeah, true.
So
we'll be
yeah,
here.
exactly. So it's not so bad. Not so bad. Okay, well, let's talk about Ted. I've got his bio right here. Our good friend Ted Kuntz is a Canadian psychotherapist, author, educator, and advocate known for his work in personal transformation, resilience, and informed medical choice. He holds a master's degree in counseling psychology and has over 25 years of experience as a clinician and a consultant. He is the author of several books, including the bestseller Peace Begins With Me. Highly recommend. It's a very, very good. I'm reading it just about through it right now. So Peace Begins With Me, an inspirational journey to end suffering and restore joy, as well as the titles Dare to Question, One Parent to Another, and 8 Weeks to a Better Relationship, and works focused on vaccine choice and parental decision making. Ted's personal journey profoundly shapes his personal work and writing after his son Joshua developed a severe uncontrollable seizure disorder following a DPT vaccine at 5 months old, requiring lifelong 24-hour care. Kuntz navigated years of grief, anger, and medical challenges before embracing acceptance, forgiveness, and joy. Joshua, who passed away in 2017, became a central teacher for Kuntz on living fully amid adversity. This experience informs Kuntz's therapy practice, public speaking, and advocacy for vaccine safety, awareness, and parental rights, positioning him as a voice for transforming suffering into wisdom and peace. And with that, I would like to bring Ted on. Ted, welcome to House Arrest again.
Nice to see you both again. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for joining us.
Glad to hear your punishment is almost over.
We're getting there. They're still trying to bring more at us. So.
Yeah.
But they're not going to let you. They're not going to let you out to play between 10 at night and 5 in the morning. Is that what you said, Chris?
For an additional 6 months. So which will be. I mean, it's better than the 24-hour curfew, and you have to have everything listed on your schedule. But we can deal with it. We can definitely deal with it. So.
Well, I think every day that they put this stuff on the two of you, it shows how wrong our system of law is in this country. So.
Yeah.
Of course, we have our appeals out right now. I actually spoke to my lawyer last week, and I hadn't heard yet. She hasn't heard yet a date for the appeals court in Toronto. So we'll see. I mean, the Crown's going to come back, and they're going to ask for actual jail time for us for mischief and appeal some of our sentences. So, yeah.
Yes. And honestly, having a 10 p.m. curfew at my age isn't necessarily a punishment, if I'm being honest.
Exactly.
Where do you think I'm going to be after 10 o'clock?
Yeah.
Yeah, they could make it 8 o'clock at night and I'd be okay. So.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That's exactly right. Well, Ted, I want to welcome you to the show. As I said, I mean, it's in your introduction, you've had quite an experience. It's been quite a journey for you. And, I just want to say thank you for your bravery and your courage in telling that story. And I think the lessons that you learned from your own story, how I love how you talk about Joshua becoming, your greatest teacher, and it's absolutely beautiful. And so thank you for that. Obviously, your experience is what led you to create Vaccine Choice Canada. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, first of all, I should make a correction. I didn't create Vaccine
Sure.
Choice Canada. It was
Oh, okay.
around long before me. Vaccine Choice Canada actually began in 1982, and it was the year.
I
It
thought
was the
okay.
It was the year that the Ontario government introduced legislation to make vaccines mandatory for kids to get a public education. And the first legislation had no provision for personal belief or religious exemptions. And so it was, you either get them or you don't get a public education.
Mhm.
And I just find it ironic that that was the same year that Canada had its Charter of Rights and Freedoms. And so how they put
Wow.
those two together, I don't know, but they did. And so a group of parents lobbied the Ontario government for 2 years, and in 1984 they were successful in having the legislation changed to include personal belief and religious exemptions. But from my perspective, there should be no vaccine mandates. Like, to me, that is a violation of the fundamentals of a free society. It's the violations of ethical medicine, and it needs to stop. And there are only 2 provinces in Canada with vaccine mandates for kids to get an education. That's Ontario and New Brunswick. And so most people don't know that.
Wow.
If you were to survey most parents, they think they have to have their kids vaccinated to go to school, and they don't. But our medical system and our governments don't want parents to have that choice, or to know that they have that choice.
I was just going to say exactly. They don't want them to even know that they have that
I
choice.
I actually spoke with a lady I think it was last week or the week before, that was arrested or put under conditions for trying to take her child back to the school after being kicked out for not being vaccinated. She thought, she would let the kids social between the fence lines, and I guess the OPP were called. Police showed up and escorted her off the premises, charged her with trespassing. So this is still going on.
And there's a number of school districts or principals that are doing that, Chris, and it's not legal. A parent whose kid is registered at the school cannot be charged with trespassing. And so there's been a number of cases where that has been struck down, and yet our education system, our so-called education system, persists in being part of the conspiracy or the coercion to have our kids injected with these medications that none of them have been proven to be safe. None of them.
Especially when you look at the cancer rates and the heart, all the diseases right now that are going around, we see it.
Well, you just got to look at the rates of autism. I mean, the recognized rate is 1 in 31, but California now is acknowledging that 1 in 12 boys has autism in the state of California. I mean, if that's not a crisis, if that's not a pandemic, I don't know what is.
Yeah.
And yet when somebody has the sniffles and a cold, that's a pandemic, and we shut down schools, we shut down people's ability to go to work, to drive a truck. And yet we've got effectively 1 in 12 boys diagnosed with autism, which is a lifelong condition. It's neurological injury.
100%.
Right, of course.
But yes, we should add to that. They keep alcohol stores and tobacco and pot stores open for business. They close gyms. Yeah. Make it all make sense.
Yeah, places of worship.
Yep.
It's so weird. Like, looking back, I just said this to a friend of mine yesterday. Like, looking back now over that whole period of the pandemic, and I know your work is about much more than just that, but it's hard to believe that even happened. It's like, it just doesn't seem like like we could have allowed that to happen. That's the scary thing. Is not so much what they did to us; it's what we allowed them to do to us.
That we participated, we were complicit, we complied with. I mean, I'm still shocked that so many Canadians went along with this.
What's scary is the people that are actually still following the narrative, isn't it? The ones that, it's sad.
It is sad. It is sad.
Yeah.
I mean, we still, I'm sure you see it. It's the odd person, thankfully, but you still see people masking. I hear people say they're proud that they've got their 8th or their 9th booster shot. Like, when do they realize that this thing doesn't work? And then I'm sure you've got it. I've got it in my family and extended family. People dying suddenly, lots of cancer, turbo cancer, dementia. Like, but when you say,
It's scary.
do you think it might have anything to do with the shot? Oh no, safe and effective. Safe and effective.
Yes, of course.
Down with the ship. Remember, just ride that one out. Yeah.
Well, I think we've talked before, and I remember I was skeptical, obviously, about them right from the beginning, the vaccines. I mean, just because of the sheer rate that they came out. I mean, I'd always had a little bit of skepticism about it by this point in my life, anyways. But I was driving to work, and I lived in Manitoba at the time, and I was driving on the back roads to go into town to work at the municipality, and they came on with this great announcement. The vaccines were ready to be rolled out, and the first people that they were going to give them to was the First Nations. They were the first people they were offering them to, so, and this was hailed as quite a thing. And
Tamara, it's part of Truth and Reconciliation now to give it to them first. What people don't understand is that they have, for centuries, they have experimented on First Nation and Aboriginal people, as well as people with disabilities, Negroes. When you look back at the history of this medical practice, it's abhorrent. And the fact that people aren't in jail says we have a problem. Humanity has a problem. We allow the poisoning of our infants and children, and now, during pregnancy, with chemicals that are known to be toxic, and yet 80-90% of the population complies and doesn't even ask a question.
Conditioned, is it not?
I know there'd been a lot of skepticism or whatever around, the correlation between autism and I think it's the measles vaccine. But if I'm not mistaken, there was an actual report that came out of the United States 2 or 3 weeks ago, at least, confirming the link between autism and these vaccines.
Well, the CDC in the United States just recently changed the language on their website. Before it, they said they had a very definitive statement: vaccines don't cause autism. And now the statement is that the evidence does not exist to support that statement. And they're asking for more research. I personally believe we don't need more research, that the evidence is overwhelming. There are over 65 vaccinated versus unvaccinated studies, and all of them show that vaccinated children are sicker than unvaccinated kids. And the most recent, which was the Henry Ford Hospital System study, that it was only released in 2025, but it was actually completed in 2020. And it's probably the most robust vaccinated versus unvaccinated study that's ever been conducted. And it conclusively showed that vaccinated children, even with one vaccine, have higher rates of autism, neurological injury, attention deficit disorder, asthma, like you name it. They're sicker across, I think it's 22 disease categories.
Yeah, incredible.
And so it boggles the mind that our medical system ignores that evidence, and they rely on narrative, because that's really what vaccines are. It's a narrative, a safe and effective narrative. Polio saved the world, or the polio vaccine saved the world, or, these are narratives. These are stories that have no basis in science, no basis in fact. And what I'm shocked by is that, young parents will spend hours researching, strollers and baby cribs and car seats, read food labels, and then you say to them, have you read anything about vaccines? Have you read the label on a vaccine ingredient list, the product monograph? No, the answer is no.
Nothing.
Because if you did, you would not vaccinate.
And so many of us, well, I was a young mom. I have all my childhood vaccinations. My kids have all their childhood vaccinations. I mean, this even goes back to, our case, or everything that's happening. I mean, all the institutions that we were raised to believe were there to protect us and protect our rights and protect our families, from the public health, to the judicial system, to the law enforcement system. All of it has clearly is not protecting us. It's not giving us a voice, and it's not protecting our families. I was going to wait until later to bring this up, but I want to find your Substack because you've got some great information listed in there as regards to measles. And, I was reading it and it really struck me, Ted, that you're absolutely right. When I was a kid, measles wasn't a big deal. I remember having chicken pox parties, or the parents in our community would have chicken pox parties. So they'd get all the kids together so that they could, catch it and get their immunity.
And then you have to slather yourself in that white milky substance to not itch. So what was that stuff called?
Calamine lotion.
Calamine lotion. Basically bathed in it as a child.
But you're right, Tamara, is that those were childhood rites of passage. Everybody got chicken pox, everybody got mumps, everybody got the measles. And if you understand how the immune system works, it has to be challenged. And so those are the childhood illnesses that actually develop a robust immune system. And by taking those away, we have kids that are sick all the time now. We've exchanged short-term chronic or short-term acute illnesses that last, 5 to 10 days for lifelong illnesses, for lifelong disabilities.
I got it here. Now, I'm going to bring it up here right away.
But Tamara, I'm guilty of being a parent who didn't do my homework. I mean, my son was injured, and that's what woke me up.
Right.
I bought the mantra. But there's a difference today. When I was a young parent, there was no internet. There was no access to the kind of information that's readily available now. And it's a question of doing your homework. I also think, and you said it, is that we trusted our institutions, and it may be that, like I look back at my lifetime. I'm 71 years old. Is that I think many of the institutions did serve us well, but I don't believe that today. I don't know one government institution that I think is operating with integrity, transparency, and credibility.
Yeah, agreed.
What are your thoughts on the whole? Sorry, go ahead.
Well, that's okay. Go ahead. You can ask him.
I was just going to ask Ted about the hantavirus scare that the government's trying to throw people into right now.
Oh, great.
Being raised on a farm, I can tell you that mice carry hantavirus, and you're around them all the time. You don't just stick your nose in deer mouse feces. Where do you think this is going? Is it just the latest thing that the government can try and scare people with?
Yeah, that and the Ebola are
Ebola.
They have to keep people afraid, because when people are afraid, they look to their governments to protect them. And so it's from a pure psychological perspective, fear is a very powerful weapon. The problem is they use it against us.
Absolutely.
And they really don't want you to be educated. They don't sit down and say, let's understand the hantavirus or Ebola. What's the risk of it? What's the likelihood of contracting it? And then let's talk about the remedies. And you discover the remedies. Well, with every childhood vaccine on the schedule, the risk of dying is higher from the vaccine than it is from the illness. And if a parent knew that, they would never vaccinate their child again.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, it's not really related, but we were watching a YouTube video on what goes into our food, which we're actually going to touch on because you're going to talk about the NCI hearings later on. But and the arsenic, the amount of arsenic just in like gummy bears and all these candies, chocolate bars. And I was thinking about it. I was like, if you sat down at a table and poured your child a bowl of cereal and sprinkled a bit of arsenic on it, you'd go to jail.
Mm-hmm. But
they're putting it in our children's food.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. Oh, Michelle's here. Nice to see you, Michelle. Michelle Wharton, thanks for joining us. I actually talked to Michelle a couple of weeks ago, about a week and a half ago, because I'd like her and Julie to come on to talk about CanRise 19. So I'll get to work on that. So Ted has a Substack. I encourage you to like or to subscribe to it. And he's got a great article up here about measles. As we know, the measles, the fear porn is all over the map right now with measles. And like we were just saying, one of the things that really struck me the most was how you're right. When we were young, it wasn't really a big deal. I won't read all of it, but I do want to touch on a bit of it. And you have some great stats in here too. The media is incredibly vigilant in reporting every single case of measles as if each one represents an existential threat to society, just as you were just saying with the other ones. Individuals of my generation are a bit mystified by the intensity of this effort. As someone who was a child in the 60s, everyone I knew contracted measles at some point in his or her childhood. It was a childhood rite of passage, and everyone also understood that getting measles ensured long-term immunity. Today, a measles sighting results in a reaction as intense as a national state of emergency. It's true. Two colleagues shared with me the impact of this purported crisis in their lives. One, the mother of a 4-year-old, informed me that she'd finally succumbed to having her daughter vaccinated for measles after a barrage of phone calls insisting that she do the right thing and get her daughter vaccinated. Where have we heard that before? And that
Peer
goes back to the
pressure.
fear that you were talking about, Ted. And then the fear that even causes people to put on other people, the pressure that put, you know what I mean? And that's, I can't remember who said it, but I think it was Tammy Peterson who said of the pandemic that they weaponized duty.
Yeah.
You don't want to kill your grandma, you don't want to kill your neighbors, they weaponized being a good person. That's what's happening. Oh, sorry.
And they weaponized compassion. Yeah.
Yes, they did weaponize compassion. Where was
They divided us in
presents
our
as a
own
whole
homes.
body rash with fever, congestion, a cough, and pink eye, which lasts 7 to 10 days. Yeah, they did. Yeah. Am I still frozen?
Nope, you're good.
And it looks like a deficiency in vitamin A. So those deficient in vitamin A are more at risk of experiencing complications. Measles complications typically only occurs in third world countries where malnutrition is high. And malnutrition is the primary cause of the most severe reactions to the measles. There's so much information in here. I wish I could read the whole thing, but we've got to get down to the statistics because they're quite staggering.
Well,
the risks of the measles vaccination. And this is what I like because you sort of, sorry. Oh, it's not moving. There we go.
Yep.
Is that better? Is it there now?
Yep.
There's compelling evidence that administering the MMR vaccine prior to 3 years of age can cause regressive autism. In 2014, Dr. William Thompson, a CDC scientist directly involved with vaccine autism research, revealed data showing a 3.4 times increase in autism in Africa, or African American boys, given the MMR vaccine before the age of 3. That's massive. Absolutely massive. CDC scientists were instructed to destroy this evidence. Well, that's a little bit of alarming.
Right.
And autism has become an epidemic in recent decades with more than 1 in 31 children diagnosed. And California reports an autism rate, as you were saying earlier, of 1 in 12 boys. That's frighteningly high.
Well, to me, this is child sacrifice.
It is, yeah, experimentation almost. So, as of April 24, 2026, there have been almost 120,000 reports of measles vaccine reactions, hospitalizations, injuries, and deaths following measles vaccinations made to the federal vaccine adverse events reporting system, including 584 deaths, 9,319 hospitalizations, and 2,276 related disabilities. Approximately 50% of those adverse events occurred in children under 3 years old. Unbelievable. Like you said, it's a child sacrifice.
And then, Tamara, the next paragraph there talks about how a study that was done in 2010 revealed that less than 1% of vaccine injuries are reported. And so the number may realistically be 100 times that number. And so instead of 120,000, you're looking at 11 million.
Yeah.
We see it every day, do we not? The vaccine injuries. I know it's rampant in my family right now.
I see it everywhere. Yeah. What I say is that if you've received the vaccine, you've been injured. The question is the degree. And so I'll recognize my son was at
Right.
one end of that degree. He did live for 31 years, but as Tamara said, he required 24-hour care his entire life because his seizures were never controlled. He could never be left alone.
Yeah. Terrible.
So sorry you had to go through that. Ted.
And what a toll that takes, not just on him, but on his, his parents, his family. It changes your whole entire life. And I've met lots of parents who swear that their child has been injured by childhood vaccinations. So it is a thing. And I mean, people didn't really talk about it out loud very much before, but they're starting to now, which is
Well, I think the amount of injury, particularly from the COVID shots, is so severe and so prevalent that people are now questioning what they didn't question before. And so, if there's an upside to what happened during COVID, I would say that's the upside. The sad part is that it takes our children being harmed and our loved ones being harmed before we say, wait a sec, something's wrong here. So you have a situation like Sean Hartman, where a dad loses his son because his son wanted to play hockey. Nobody is charged for these deaths.
No.
And as we know from the situation with Ottawa Detective Helen Grews, is even when you start to ask questions, your own police force turns against you, and she's been charged with discreditable conduct for simply asking the parent if they had been vaccinated with a COVID vaccine. Like, that's a standard question when there's a sudden infant death, and yet she was not supposed to ask that question. So it tells us,
and it wasn't just one; it was an alarmingly high number of infant deaths. Right, like that was unusual too.
Have you ever seen it tripling? Yeah.
The trial that Helen Gruss has gone through in the last number of years has been absolutely embarrassing for law enforcement. Did you go and take part in it at all, Ted? Tamara and I were both there for a day.
I wasn't, but I'm also a director with Grews Justice Project, and so we are trying to get justice for Helen Grews. And I don't know if you've seen the documentary that premiered last week in Ottawa. So it's called Silencing. It's called Silencing Detective Grews, and it is an absolute expose of the criminality within our police system and our court system in this country. I think Canadians will be absolutely horrified by what they see in that documentary. So those that want to host a screening of the film, if you go to grewsjusticeproject.org, there's a place that you can, Grews, Grus, justiceproject.org, and there's a place there where you can watch the trailer. You can indicate that you want to host a screening, and that's where we're listing people that have already scheduled screenings. And we want to get this film showing right across the country.
So if anybody out there is wondering about the story between Helen Gruss, she is an Ottawa City detective that was investigating sudden infant deaths, and found a correlation between the deaths and the vaccines. And when she questioned that and dug into it, she found a little bit of evidence on her side. She was then halted by her own OPS investigation, the higher uppers. And she wasn't just held accountable. She's been through a 4-year tribunal right now.
Yes.
She has been through the mill. And Helen is probably one of the most amazing people you'll meet personally. She's a loving and caring. She was doing her job. And this is what the establishment didn't like. And she's still standing. Helen, if you're listening, met her a few times. She's an amazing individual.
I'm really looking forward to seeing this documentary. I mean, Chris and I have some firsthand knowledge about how the Ottawa Police Service works also. So, and I feel bad for her because we know how that machine works, and she's actually gotten it much worse.
The machine. We've met some amazing officers. I just want to give those officers out in the courtroom and the ones we worked with. There's been some good officers. When you're walking out of the courtroom and you've been sentenced and you're leaving, officers were basically, shaking your hand and saying, be safe. Like, it was good to see you. And that's the kind of respect we got in Ottawa. So, but they would be penalized from their higher uppers if they found that.
I got to think it would be so difficult to work in a police force like that. When you realize how complicit they are in the harming and killing of our children, in violating our fundamental rights. And it's the same with doctors. Good doctors that have, an ethical code of conduct. How do you work for these systems any longer when they persist in the maiming and killing of citizens?
Yeah.
Well, I think what's even more concerning than that is that the people that would say no are being pushed out. They were pushed out through the mandates, and they're being pushed out through ideological means. They're being pushed out through DEI. So all of our institutions are being purged of people that actually do have courage and will stand up. And or Detective Gruss is a prime example. Look at our military. They purged the Afghan vets, and then they purged the Afghan vets, and then they did the COVID purge, all our soldiers that wouldn't take their vaccine, and then they did the ideological purge. And look what's left. 2 weeks ago, we have a report coming out where two different, new sets of new recruits of different ethnicities, new citizens, are fighting each other in the military. So that's the huge problem, and I don't know how you fix that and get these people back into these positions.
Yeah.
I know so many vets were. What did they test the vets on in Afghanistan? What was that drug they tested on?
Mefloquine.
I mean, this is what they've done to our service members, the ones that were fighting for our freedom. I keep asking this question: when are we going to get mad as a society and stand up and say this is enough? I mean, we thought we did a good job in February 2022, but the government had to do their best to try and put us down, so that to send a message to everybody else: hey, you stay in your place, you'll be okay. Good little sheep.
Do as you're told.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
The social credit score is coming.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, we're gonna fail for sure. Chris and I are definitely failing the social credit score test.
It's the latest one. This is the latest one. Petropass, Canada, one of Canada's biggest fuel companies now on the digital era. Now, when I put this card in a card lock reader across Canada, I have to have my cell phone in my pocket at a fuel pump. It will send me a code that I have to put in the machine to allow me to fuel. The new digital service, I told Petro-Canada, they called again. You have to be ready. June 2nd, this new program takes effect. I said, I told you the last time you called, I am no longer doing business with Petropass anymore until you change your way.
Good for you. We have to stand up. We have to stand up, Chris. Otherwise, they're building a prison, and they make it convenient to go inside the prison.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you don't realize what's going on, this is not about protecting us. This is not about our rights and freedoms. This is about controlling us.
Control. Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's a really nice segue into our next topic that I want to talk about, and that is some of the resources that you are putting out there, the Dare to Question. You have a couple of these new resources coming out. That's basically, this one is about new parents. I think you've got one here, another one for pregnant women.
Yeah.
Also, and it's just to give people that information to help them be informed. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about these?
Yeah, Vaccine Choice Canada has been around, like I said, since 1982, and lots of our work was around supporting families that were vaccine injured. We're trying to protect our right to medical choice. And we thought that if we, just lobbied the government, the government would do the right thing. Well, the government has no intentions of doing the right thing. And we came to realize that if we're going to have a change here, if we're going to protect our right to medical choice and protect a parent's right to make medical decisions for their children, they have to know how to stand up. They have to know how to defend that right. And so we've produced now 3 books in a series. The first one was A New Parent's Guide to Understanding Vaccination. The second is Pregnancy and Vaccination. And this is the third one, Dare to Question, A Young Adult's Guide to Vaccination. Because we're all being coerced. We're all being deceived by the vaccine lie, the vaccine deception. We go through, in these books, we go through each of the illnesses that a child might experience, for example, during childhood. And then what does it mean to have measles? What does it mean to have mumps? What does it mean to have chicken pox? And so you understand that what's the risk of contracting it? And then we look at the vaccine. What do we know about the vaccine? What's the safety profile of the vaccine? What's the risk profile of the vaccine? And again, what you'll discover is that a 2020 study that's called the control group study compared vaccinated versus unvaccinated population in the United States. And they were able to discern that the risk of dying, the risk of mortality is higher for every vaccine on the childhood schedule than it is for the risk of being unvaccinated.
Wow.
And again, if parents knew that one fact by itself, I think that would stop it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Around pregnancy used to be a sacred time. We would caution mothers, don't drink alcohol, don't smoke, don't, there's food that you didn't take. There were all these things because you were eating for two.
Mm-hmm.
You were drinking for two. Suddenly we've gone from one of the chapters in the book is called From Sacred to Seven, because there are now 7 vaccines that are being pushed on our pregnant mothers. And if you look at the product information insert, so every pharmaceutical product is required by the manufacturer to produce an insert that explains the ingredients, the safety testing, what the contraindications are for, what overdose looks like, et cetera, et cetera. When you buy that Tylenol or that nasal spray or whatever it is at your local pharmacy, it's included in the package. Every vaccine has an insert as well, but I'm willing to bet that 99.9% of Canadians have never seen the insert because they don't give it to people.
Really?
Right.
And if you read the insert, it will tell you that none of the vaccines were tested on pregnant mothers. And they say quite clearly, they don't know what the risk profile of this vaccine is for the mother and for the unborn child. And yet our Public Health Canada, public health officers are encouraging our pregnant moms to get up to 7 vaccines during pregnancy. I mean, me, it is so far beyond ethical. I now believe it's criminal. This is criminal behavior. And if we had a system of law enforcement in this country, these people should go to jail. But that doesn't happen. People don't, in the medical system, people don't go to jail for killing people.
No.
Yes.
No, you're right.
Exactly.
There has been zero accountability from government pushing this crap on us.
Yeah, I mean, we can't even get started on the MAID program. I'm sure you both saw the headlines about Tim Hortons a couple days ago, where a man was diagnosed in the drive-thru and was hauled off and was mated. I mean, where are we at as a country when we stop protecting our most vulnerable, our children, our senior citizens, our mentally challenged, our physically challenged? Where have we failed as a country that we think it's okay to euthanize these people, to even suggest to euthanize these people? They're preying on them,
It is predatory. That's exactly the word, Tamara. Yeah. And what it shows is a lack of value for human life. Yeah. Humans have become disposable now. Yeah. And they're delivering that message in all kinds of ways. I don't know if you saw the billboards that were in New York's square this week. They were advertising AI technology, and the billboard was, "We don't need humans anymore."
I did see that. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Ted, did you see this one? I seen this a little while ago. They introduced 2 AI systems to speak to each other, and the conversation then turned to a digital conversation, and nobody could tell what these 2 AI systems were actually talking about. I have to see if I could find that. I seen it a couple of weeks ago. It was very scary, because they have their own language, or had.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a very dangerous development, and I see people eager to adopt the use of AI, and I have a whole lot more caution for it. I don't trust it.
No.
I think I actually think it's quite dangerous. And right now, what gets produced on, when you use AI, they haven't claimed ownership yet. But I have a colleague who worked for Microsoft, and 5 years ago, she advised us at Vaccine Choice Canada, do not use AI for anything you produce, because at some point they're going to say if they were involved in it, they actually own it. and they're going to take ownership of all this stuff that's people are using AI for. So
Incredible.
Good point.
And it's incredible how widely I think it's incredible how widely it is being used. I mean, I know a lot of people that use it like every day for work, and I mean, I just don't trust it enough yet. First, I'm not. I haven't been around it long enough to really think about using it all that often. I mean, there is some cases, where I will go and look something up, like your bio, for instance, 100% disclosure. I went to Grok and used that to get all of that stuff together. But I do know even of cases where lawyers, will punch in something and it'll bring up fake cases. It'll present like fake legal cases. So,
Well,
I mean, how would you ever trust it?
we hear about this all the time because people will use AI to ask about vaccines, and
Yes.
their initial response is vaccines are safe and effective. And then if you know what you're talking about, you say, well, what about this study? Oh, okay, I didn't take that into consideration. What about this one? What about this one? What about this one? And eventually it will revise its recommendations, and it will acknowledge that the science isn't there to declare vaccine safe and effective. But if you go back the next day and start again and ask the question, it will start from square one. Vaccines are safe and effective.
Yes, exactly. Okay, we only have you for 15 more minutes, Ted. So I really want to get to the NCI hearings that are taking place, I believe, in June in London, Ontario. They're titled "Are Farmers Safe in Canada?" and "Is Our Food Safe in Canada?" And so I want to hear about that a little bit.
Well, you're going to get the first public announcement. We just decided today to not continue with those hearings in London, Ontario, on June the 11th
Oh,
to
okay.
the 13th.
Okay.
We're gonna postpone the hearings probably for a couple of months, and the reason is that we've had a lot of difficulty getting farmers to testify at the hearings, and what they're telling us, and you guys probably know from the prairie provinces, is that because of the lack of precipitation, there's lots of farmers are delayed getting their seed into the ground. And I was just talking to somebody today who said the Hutterite community haven't planted any crops yet because of the lack of moisture. And so what farmers are saying to us is that we're still putting seed in the ground. We can't take time off to go to a hearing. So we think that we'll hold it in a month or two, and we'll likely shift to holding the next hearing on this conversation in Alberta, because there's many Albertan farmers who are ready to speak up about this. We had the situation, we had the first round of hearings in Kelowna about 3 months ago. And we had a number of farmers who said they would testify, and then at the last minute they withdrew. And what we learned is that they all got messages from Canadian Food Inspection Agency saying, it's probably not in your best interest to speak out loud about these matters. And so there's a lot of coercion that's happening. And so we've got farmers who want to testify, but they're too afraid to testify. And we've been asked, and this isn't the only topic we've been asked, but they want to know if they can testify anonymously. And according to the rules that we've established for the National Citizens Inquiry, we don't see how we can do that. That we need to have people testify. They testify under oath. They have to be cross-examined by a lawyer and the commissioners. And so that's just part of being able to have integrity in the testimony that's been given. But it's really disturbing when our farmers are saying it's not safe for me to tell the truth about what's happening to farming and to food in this country.
The CFA is absolutely disgusting agency, and after what they did in BC to the ostriches, I will never look at that organization. And then to see the overreach continuing right now in the beef industry and what they're trying to do to farmers, prairie ranchers. At what point does government come on?
That's one of the things that I learned. Like I wasn't a big fan of having this set of hearings on farming. I just didn't think it was a big issue. And what I learned through the hearings in Kelowna is that the culling of the ostriches wasn't unusual. The only thing that was unusual about it is that the farmers, the ostrich owners, went public.
Yep.
What I've learned is that culling of livestock in Canada happens on almost a weekly basis, and that hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of livestock in Canada have been culled. Our chickens, our cows, our goats, our pigs, and it all is happening under the radar, because what happens is when they cull your livestock, they compensate you for it. But what you discover is that it can take up to a year or more before you get compensated. So you lose your livelihood, and then you're waiting for a check from the CFIA. And so those
Right.
farmers that had their livestock culled, that's why they were too afraid to testify, because the CFIA is holding the
Their
check.
money.
We
Wow.
had a witness in Kelowna who testified on the difference between the compensation system in the UK compared to Canada. In the UK, they have to compensate the farmers, I think, within something like 3 weeks of the cull, and they have to have competitive a realistic price for the price of the livestock. In Canada, the CFIA gets to decide how much your livestock is worth.
Of course.
And then Lee
Of
Turner was
course.
he was a lawyer for a period of time for the ostrich farmers, and he said the Canadian Food Inspection Agency gets to cull your animals based purely on suspicion. They don't have to have proof at all. And what we learned with the ostriches is they actually threatened the farmers to say that if you go out and get your ostriches tested, we will fine you $500,000 plus prison time.
Yeah. Which is ludicrous, because you would think if they are an agency under the guise of science, wouldn't you want to know for sure? Like, wouldn't you want to confirm that? You know, it was really, it was Gestapo. And, you know, just watching that agency go into that property, completely take it all over, you know, basically tell these people what they could do or not do on their own property with their own livestock.
Yep.
You know, they were cutting the security cameras, and it was just
so much for transparency. Right?
They stood on a stack of bales with rifles and like a 1930s German death squad and shot at animals. Not even what happened to the humane way of actually, you know, culling a bird. There's humane ways to do it, but they had to make a point just how vicious they can be. I hope those CFI agents that were in charge there, those two men, I'll never forget their faces. I hope you live a nasty, horrible life. You're a pathetic piece of human scum. That one made me. My anger was just.
Well, that was disgusting, and to me, they did it on purpose. Like that.
Yes,
that's part of.
course.
We talked about the power of fear, and that created a lot of fear. That ostrich situation. They did it that way on purpose. They could have done it much more humanely. So you got to know there's a psychological component to this, and it sent a very strong message to every other farmers. Don't cross us. Don't question us. We're the bosses. Do as we say. Do as you're told. Yeah.
They've done that with us over the last 4 years. This is the punishment. They've used us and others as a tool to send a message to other people. Do not stand up. And I just think, and people are scared, and I don't know when people are going to become angry instead of scared.
We got to find our courage and stand up. Otherwise, the prison door is going to close.
Yep.
Yeah.
So anyways,
you're already in a prison. You're already in a prison. You just don't realize it yet.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we'll reschedule these hearings probably in, I think, realistically in August. And again, I think we're looking to Alberta. And then come fall, we're going to shift gears, and we're going to look at the leading topic that we've been encouraged to investigate is the rule of law in Canada. And I think the two of you would agree that there needs to be a conversation about that. The Helen Grew situation tells us that.
Yep.
The fact that our courts are making the kind of decisions, whether it's DRIPA or the situation with the purported 215 graves in Kamloops. I mean, there are some pretty outrageous decisions that have been made.
Absolutely.
Well, just to watch how the government's reacting to the independence movement in Alberta. It's just
exactly. Like we were saying earlier, there's really no institution anymore that hasn't been, corrupted in some way. And I want to end this on a positive note, because we've talked about a lot of heavy things here tonight. And one of the things that I wanted to bring up and let everybody know about you is that you and Dr. Trazi do a weekly show called Wins of the Week. Where you highlight, different wins in the scientific community or any of the communities. I know you've talked about myself and Chris on your show also. So
We have, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, it was something that I started about 3 years ago, and I just thought, we need to acknowledge when we've got success, when we've got wins, because there is a lot of bad stuff that's happening, but there's also good things that are happening. And then Dr. Trozi contacted me and said, I really like your wins. Do you think you and I could actually record those? And so we started to do it. And I think we did our 126th episode last week. So it's really gone well. And what I find quite humorous now is that when I'm meeting people for the first time, it used to be, oh, you're Ted Kuntz from Vaccine Choice Canada. And then it was, oh, you're Ted Kuntz from the National Citizens Inquiry. Now it's, oh, you're Ted Kuntz from Wins of the Week. So I say the Wins of the Week now, I've got more fame from that than from anything else I've done. So.
Good.
Oh, no kidding. An internet celebrity on top of it all. Fantastic.
Everybody go check him out.
Yeah, absolutely. Good. Well, we're going to let you go, Tad. I know you've got places to be. Thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, we definitely want to catch up to you. Let us know about the NCI hearings and
we will.
When they're going to be booked, and we'll make sure that we can get the word out, and we'll definitely have you back on to speak about that afterwards too. So
wonderful.
Safe travels and good luck. Have a good time down in Rhode Island.
Thank you. Thank you both. Thanks for your good work. You guys are an inspiration.
It's good to see you again, Ted.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, safe travels. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Well, we're not quite done our show yet, so what did you want to do to finish it off? I have an idea.
Oh, gosh. Oh, I'm scared. I'm a little bit scared.
Why don't we interact with the audience? If you have any questions in there.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, absolutely.
We've got a little bit of time here. Ted is an amazing man. I'm so appreciative for him coming on.
Yeah.
What's your questions? I can't wait to hear some of them, because I know we're going to get a couple, and I'll resist.
Yeah. Thank you,
Tamara,
Chris, and Ted.
Kevin. Good to see you, Kevin.
Feel like the old days. Yeah, nice.
Oh, where's the intro video? Were we going to do that? I keep messing that up because all the videos with the sound I have.
Clip.
Big Red.
I don't know if we have one. Yeah, that's right. We didn't play our Big Red clip of the week this week because we keep getting strikes. We keep getting strikes because of the music. I don't know. You've got to be able to find some AI music. After we just had this conversation about not using AI, just find some AI music. I don't know, but I love the clips and I definitely want to keep them. I don't know if there's a way that you can find older music that is, past the copyright phase. Maybe some old Johnny Cash or something. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I had a little Johnny Cash in this week's one, but we keep getting strikes. Every time we put a Big Red video up, it strikes us and we're done. So
yeah.
TikTok.
It wouldn't be the same. It wouldn't be the same without music.
I don't have, and then that's the thing. I try to use generated songs that are mixed together with a bunch of different stuff, and on my Facebook, it'll sometimes hit me with a copyright infringement, but
wow. Well, we'll have to get that figured out because we need to keep doing the clips of the week. But I think that one, I'm not sure exactly what the rules and regulations are there. So classical music is free. Well, there you go. We could play some Big Red clips of the week to some Bach or Beethoven. I do love Vivaldi. I really do love Vivaldi. Thank you, Jilly Bean. Thank you for coming. We really appreciate the support, you guys. It means a lot to have you come and show up and support us and listen to us ramble on and on sometimes.
Well, it's therapeutic. I don't know about you, but I've been on a 3 days grace binge the last while for music on my iPod or earpad. Just some, I don't think I can do, really, that kind of music.
Who was your favorite band growing up?
I was a Motley Crue fan. I was a Crue head back in the day. I was probably 10 or 11 years old, and I painted like I've got steel fence corrals out in the backyard for my horses, and I painted those for my uncle when I was just a kid, and I got paid $90 cash for painting all that fence. And the first thing I did was I went into Swift Current and I bought every cassette tape from Motley Crue, right through,
right
Too
there.
Fast for Love, yeah. And that was my biggest
Looking in the
purchase.
Vanity.
Was it just a Crue head? I love Motley Crue. And you, Tamara, who was?
Oh, of course, the greatest rock band of all time, Kiss.
Oh,
that was my favorite band growing up. Actually, Def Leppard, I would say Hysteria is my all-time favorite album of all time. But I did grow up a huge, huge Kiss fan until the pandemic, and then I was just so disappointed in Gene Simmons and his attitude.
Oh.
I just can't get over that. A lot of my childhood heroes really disappointed me.
Yeah, Tommy Lee was like, I've got a big drum kit in the corner of my basement down here, and I used to just anything rock, I'll sit with my earbuds in and play to myself. I don't play publicly. Tommy Lee was my hero growing up, and to see how he is, I just can't anymore. So, and then the fact that I grew up with Motley Crue, and they always had like that, and they did this later in their career, the Death Pack. They all said if one member dies or moves on, then Motley Crue's done. And of course, they did the whole big tour on like the final show, and now McMars is out, and you guys are frauds, and I'm sorry. I loved your music growing up, but
well, how many times did they have how many times did they say they were resigning or retiring, done forever, and that as soon as they need money, they even signed a contract. I think they signed some sort of stupid contract even.
Yep, the death contract. They all signed it, and then they all burnt it because that's what Motley. I don't know. I just didn't see it, and they kind of lost me on that one. So, but they had some amazing music over the years. Totally.
Yeah. Chris, any relation to Cliff or Mac Barber?
No, sir. No, the Barber family is made up of Alberta and Saskatchewan. So the wheat farm was in Sturt Valley, Saskatchewan. We immigrated here from Scotland. I don't know when, or 1800 sometime. Our family actually immigrated and lived around north of Barrie, Ontario. I can't remember the name of the town right now. Whatever it is, it might come to me. Bracebridge, Ontario. And my great grandfather jumped on a train, and he took a train out to the west here, and he homesteaded on the yard that I live on to this day. And so my family wheat farmed here, and then one of the brothers moved up to Concert, Alberta, where my other side of the family is. So we're kind of spread out between two, Saskatchewan and Alberta. We've got relatives all over the country, but no, none of those people that you mentioned there.
He says, okay, thanks. They all sold out. Motley Crue, she's talking about. I agree, Julie. They all did. They all did.
I really Jonathan has got me into some of this new age rock. So I would say one of my favorites, Breaking Benjamin is probably my classic favorite to this point right now. I just love listening to their music. And then like I Prevail, I've got a little bit of an anger, but then I'll go into country mode every now and then, and I'll, there's a few there.
Yeah. I have a really hard time. Oh, let's see. Derek's got to say, unacceptable fringe. Welcome to the show. In all fairness, Rick Allen is the greatest drummer in the world. Yes,
absolutely.
I agree.
You lose your
Derek,
arm.
I'm so sorry. I missed your show last night. My show with Shadow went over. Well, it didn't go over, but it lasted quite a while. So by the time I got on, everybody was gone, and you guys were just wrapping up. But I really hope that I can make the next one. Derek Smith on Acceptable Fringe had a huge panel on his show last night talking about Alberta independence. Obviously, that's a fairly hot topic out here these days. So I was sorry to miss it. Yeah.
Clayton, there's no way in daylights I'm ever going to wear a kilt. I am not that Scottish.
Was that your phone?
Yeah, it's on vibrating, like which is better than it was. I actually just turned the ringer off, but every now and then it happens. One of my trucks just got home. I heard him coming into the yard. Zippy starts barking at the top of the stairs like a moronic meatball, and I have to mute my mic because he doesn't quit. So that's exactly what he was doing. Somebody drives by me. Yeah, I did walk into the shop today. Charlie and Zeke were sound asleep in the coolness of the shop all afternoon because it was just that hot out there. So
It's really hot. I hate to complain because we just had the longest winter and a long cold spring, but whew, we're just not used to that humidity in here in Medicine Hat. I mean, this is basically it is a semi-arid desert, so we don't get a lot of humidity. I'm really surprised we haven't had any thunderstorms yet.
I was waiting
So,
for one. I was watching them the other night. Oh, look at Christy.
yeah,
How's Quill doing? So as most people know,
yeah,
Jonathan and Cooper adopted a new dog. They rescued it. Quill is doing really, really well, as long as you're Cooper and Jonathan. He is comfortable. I think Jonathan said the other night they were sleeping in bed at 2:00 in the morning, and Quill decided he was going to pull the bed sheets off the bed. So he is like Flea is so calm and relaxed and doesn't say anything. He just mellow and chill. Whereas Quill is the problem child in that relationship now. So they're having fun. Jonathan, Cooper, Quill, and Flea went to Ohio this week to pick up a sprayer for a customer, and they're working their way through North Dakota. I believe they're in North Dakota right now. So they're really lucky. They did a heck of a week. Sent the pilot truck down, and they worked together as a team. So it was pretty cool.
good for them.
Yeah.
Like I said to you this morning, it's, you're so blessed that you've sort of continued. Well, you have your business is a family business. You got Sierra helping you got Jonathan driving for you, you got Rael helping you with your paperwork and
Yep.
managing all of your stuff. So I mean, it's that's awesome.
I couldn't do without them. They're all it's
Yeah.
family units. So yeah, Rael's been working on invoicing, and she's got the office organized here. I don't even know where things are anymore, and I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm
Yeah.
the one that does the dispatch and books the loads and keeps guys moving. And it's been busy. The spring rush was insane. I'm going to hook up to the trailer tomorrow, probably mid-morning, and I'm going to head up to Beaver Lodge, Alberta for a Saturday delivery. And then I got to come back to, I got to haul a combine when I'm up there, and then come back to Nisku for Monday morning and load in Ritchie Brothers. So there's a lot of support. Every time I go to Ritchie Brothers and Nisku, I meet a lot of cool people. So Big Red will be over there.
Nice. Okay, well, I'm going to wrap this up because my computer is still glitching. I think I should have done a restart before we did this, and maybe how was it for the show? Did I manage to?
A couple of little clicks, but not bad. So
Okay, good. I don't know what else to do about that. I think maybe I need to get a booster to put between my router and here. I don't know.
Oh yes,
I need
you
a
had an
computer
anniversary
expert.
yesterday, didn't you, Miss Tamara?
I did. Yes, I sure did. It was my oldest daughter's birthday. Sorry, father-in-law's birthday on the 25th, Rory's birthday on the 26th, Sierra's birthday and our anniversary on the 27th. So it's a busy time of year at this place.
Kelly, I see you there. I might be going through cameras sometime tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. I got a little, but I might on the way back, depending on how loading on Monday goes. So
yeah.
I'm tired. Red got her new transmission, and I crawled underneath there to change an air tag bracket, and it is so pretty. My mechanic Tanner, I don't do the heavy duty stuff, so I don't have a transmission jack capable of lifting a transmission that size. So I took it to a shop. Tanner, one of my neighbors, did it for me, and everything is all plumbed so nice. All the wiring is routed nice. It's just nice and super clean under there. So, and now I have to learn how to drive an 18 speed again, because Red's transmission was so badly wore out that it was just kind of like throwing it in whatever gear you wanted. But now everything's precise and tight and timed again, so I'm gonna have to learn how to redrive my truck.
I think that's hilarious, but yeah, no kidding, so true.
It's so used to a wore out transmission on it now.
Oh man,
but I'll get her.
Oh, that's good. You need to get some more kilometers on her yet. She's got lots of life left in her yet.
Yeah.
Okay. Next week on House Arrest, we have Dan Hartman gracing us with his presence on our No One Gets Left Behind episode. We'll be talking with Dan, obviously, about Sean Hartman, about his legal case, and about the documentary, The Shot, that is, I think, almost wrapped up, all of its screenings. And we've both seen that. I think you went to Swift Current, Chris, and I missed it. I missed the show at the theater here, but I did get the flash drive from Jason, so that was quite nice of him. So
very powerful. Very powerful.
Lots to talk about. And I asked Dan today if there's anything else he'd like to talk about specifically, and he just kind of laughed and said the trolls. It absolutely blows my mind how anybody could attack any of the vaccine injured or the people that have suffered, as a result of family members who have been vaccine injured. We see all sorts of horrible things online, like, accusing them of faking their injuries or of not telling the truth or not being transparent. Like, anyways, these guys put up with a lot. They've got a lot going on. They've got a lot to deal with without these people, jumping all over them and just being ridiculous.
Well, I'm pleased
So,
to say that I've been slaying trolls with Dan Hartman most days on Twitter. We
yes.
are just,
Yeah.
I've seen some pretty vile stuff coming on there, and Dan, you take it like a champ. I don't know if I could hold my rage in when it comes to what you've been through and losing your child like that, and then having these people say such horrendous things. But then I look at my social media replies too, and they're saying the same thing to me, but they're hoping I die. It's sickening to see where this country's gone and just how vile people have become. But
Yes.
this is our country.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And then what do we got? Oh, yeah. So we got Dan Hartman next week. We got Gord coming on, Gord McGill coming on to talk about the trucking industry and some of the problems within the industry on June the 11th. June the 18th, we've got Dr. Mark Trozy coming on. And then June 25th, John Carpe is going to be joining us. So I'm hopeful after that we'll have Michelle and Julie from CanRise 19, but we'll confirm that a little bit closer to the dates.
Good.
But as you know, the first episode of every month is our No One Gets Left Behind episode, where we profile a vaccine injury story. And so we're looking forward to seeing Dan next week.
So please like,
All
share this out, and
subscribe.
we'll see you on the other. We'll be back in a week.
Yeah, that's right. Till then, keep your eye on the prize, everyone. Have a good week.
Take care, everyone.